Greetings everyone. I am Uday Sharma from the EEE Department of Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today I'm going to discuss about the topic difference between analog and digital circuits. Firstly, let us see what are analog signals and digital signals. An analog signal, almost all the signals in the world are analog. That is, they are continuously varying values. There are lots of continuous variable signals or simply analog signals in nature like light, motion, sound, temperature, pressure, etc. As we can see, this is an example of analog signal. She is varying with respect to time. If you take this period, it changes. Coming to the digital signal, and digital signal vary in discrete value levels, in contrast to the continuous representation of analog signals. Generally, the discrete levels in a digital signal are of two values, on and off. Even though all the physical signals of the nature are continuous analog signals, representing discrete signals as discrete values has its own advantages. As we can see here, this is a representation of a digital signal. This has very in this kind of form, rectangular form, this part and the negative part. In this period grace is constant. The design of electrical circuits can be undertaken in two ways based on the above understanding of analog and digital circuits. They are analog circuits and digital circuits. Analog and digital circuits is a classical way of differentiating between two types of electronic circuits based on the signals they process. To put it in a simple words, analog circuits deals with continuous and analog signals, whereas digital circuits deals with discrete and digital signals. Analog circuits as analog signals. Digital circuits as digital signals. An analog circuit is an analog circuits like let's discuss about it. Like an analog circuit is a type of electronic circuit which processes analog data using analog components like resistors, capacitors, diodes, transistors, etc. Like if you take, for example, if you take a circuit, this can be considered as an analog circuit. Analog can be quite simple, like a combination of resistors to form a voltage divider, or a combination of op amps which internally contain transistors, resistors, diodes to form an amplifier. Like if you take a voltage divider block or any starter, this whole thing can be taken into consideration as an analog circuit. The voltages and currents can have any possible values. So analog circuits are more sensitive and less immune to noise. So any small change in current or voltage will cause an error. Considering precision and efficiency, it is hard to design an analog circuit. Usually, it is easy to modify or correct some errors in analog circuit. Like if there is an error in the output, we can simply change the resistor value or any component value, and we can vary the output. Advantages of the analog circuit. Analog circuit has a comparatively easy design compared to the digital circuit. Like it only consists of op amps and resistors, capacitors, or any any basic electrical components. In this case of analog circuits, error correction and modification are easy, as discussed earlier. can simply vary the value of the components produced here. We do not need any additional security for interfering the circuit with a physical world. Like this setup is enough to interfere or interact with the physical world. There is no need of any other substances or other components that which acts as a medium to connect between the two in real world and the physical world. This ideally no loss of information or data in analog circuits. Like if you give the input, we get the output. That's it. Here we can see this is a simple example of analog circuit contains an op amp, resistors, capacitors, and etc. Let us see disadvantages. It is hard to design analog circuits with precision and efficiency. Like it takes time to we need to arrange each and every component in the based on the series of parallel connection, the way it is connected to get accurate output. Analog circuits are less immune to noise. Like if there is small disturbance, we get the noise or error in the output. It is not immune at all to the noise compared to the digital circuits or digital electronics. Analog circuits are comparable, less reliable. Like it gives an approximate values to the output. Like if you get around 120 point change or something on 120.678, it shows in between value that we have to assume that it's the value. So we can say this is reliable compared to the digital. Practical applications of analog electronics are like you can use in the sensors, amplifiers, filters, measuring device. The amplifiers, filters, or measuring devices each contain the components of analog components. So they all make analog circuits. Now let us discuss about the digital circuits. Digital circuits is also a type of electronic circuit that is predominantly built using digital electronic components to process digital signals. As we know, it is used to digital signals. At low level, the digital circuit consists of this combination of transistors, logic gates like AND, NAND, NOT, etc. And at high level, microcontrollers and processors. All digital circuits work on the binary digital signaling, which means zeros and ones. These are called binary numbers. It represents the status signal, using only two voltage levels to represent the status signal on or off, in which one represents on and zero represents off. For performing various digital signal processing, all digital circuits incorporate fast switching devices like diodes, transistors, and some of the components in functions of digital circuits are multiplexing, demultiplexing, memory, combinational logic, sequential logic, etc. Advantages and disadvantages of digital circuit. Like if you go to the advantage of digital circuits are more energy, power, efficient. In digital circuit, it is easier to achieve high precision efficiency. Like it displays the accurate output, like it's 127.6953 volts. Digital circuits are more immune to noise and error. Like if there is a change, if 420.68, like if it changes on 0.1, the digital shows that 420.69 volts, etc. It is more reliable compared to the analog circuits, like as it is more accurate and less immune to the noise or any disturbances occurred. Let us see what are disadvantages. Like this, they are hard to design. Like we need to work with all gates and stuff. We need to attach the gates to achieve the proper output. And digital electronics are hard to modify. Like if we need to get a certain output, we need to modify certain amounts of the gates or the components required. We need to modify it in a specific way. It takes time and it is hard to modify too. We need additional security to interfere digital circuits with the physical world. There appears a loss of information in digital circuits due to signal conversion. Like additional components mostly are used analog circuits slow. by converting the digital to the required output signals, there may be some loss due to this, and it also needs an interface to connect with the physical world, as discussed earlier. The analog doesn't hit one in applications. Digital electronics has become a major part in our life through some of the electronic devices like the following in smartwatches, ATM cards, computers, laptops, remote control, etc. These all contains digital components or works with the digital circuits. Here we can see the gates used in the construction of the digital circuits, how they are connected to each other to acquire the certain amount of output. Thank you. This is Sudhir Sharma signing off.